everyone, and welcome to Real Reviews with me, Chase Lee, live, and I'm here to review The Overnight. This stars Adam Scott, Taylor Schilling from The Orange is the New Black, and Jason Schwartzman and his Swartz. So what is this movie about? I got my phone here. Alex, Emily, and their son, which is the Adam Scott and Taylor Schilling couple, and their son RJ, are new to Los Angeles. A chance meeting at the park introduces them to the mysterious Kurt, Charlotte, and Max. Jason Schwartzman plays the husband. I forgot the actress's name that plays the wife. I'll go back to it. A family play date becomes increasingly interesting as the night goes on. And that's all I'll say, because this movie is quite a surprise, and that's an understatement. So since I'm doing this live, if anyone's watching right now, which no one ever does, you can comment in the place below my face and let me know about anything, this movie, whatever, and I'll answer to my best of my abilities over here on the side. So let's get into this. It's written and directed by Patrick Bryce, and I actually am interviewing him on Friday. So this recording is going on the 23rd of June, and I'm interviewing him on the 26th of June, so it should be pretty fun. But anyways, I think for the most part, what Patrick does really well is that he really has great build-up to this movie, and I think it's a very interesting premise. I mean, basically, it's just a couple going over to another couple's house, but he explores, sexuality and sexual urges between couples that have been married for years and years and years and want to spice things up a little bit, but in the confines of their own rules and regulations on how they want to explore without, feeling guilty or cheating or whatever. So I think he explores that quite well, and I think the buildup of this movie is very, very well done. It's got great suspense and tension, which I never would have thought of. It's not as funny as you think it would be with Jason Schwartzman, Adam Scott, and especially Taylor Schilling from Orange is the New Black, but it takes more of like a more dramatic turn, if you will. And like I said, it really explores, just what couples want to go through to, spice up their sex life. That's all I'm going to say. I really want you guys to kind of enjoy this movie from the get-go without knowing anything about it. So, but my one problem about the directing is that we lead up into this climax, and once the climax happens, it literally goes on for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then it just stops. And then, I mean, I understand why it stops, and I understand what happens, and I also understand the character's decision not to complete the climax or whatever, but it's just, after the climax kind of like piddles off, the movie just ends. And it's like, okay, I mean, it was great build-up, and then it was just like very underwhelming climax and the follow-up after that, even though I totally understand where the characters in the situation was coming from. That's just how I perceived it, and that's how I felt about it. But you might feel differently about it. I don't know. But like I said, great build-up. It's got great tension. It's got great writing, great dramatic stuff, great, question building as far as, like, what couples will do and how far they will go to spice up and keep their marriage alive and well sexually. So that was all good. It's just kind of underwhelming after the climax. As far as the acting goes, I love Adam Scott and Taylor Schilling as a couple. I think they really work. I think their chemistry is really well done. It's there for sure. I was just not a fan of Adam Scott's character per se. Taylor Schilling's character, on the other hand, was kind of the same way towards the end. But Adam Scott's character was kind of unlikable at some parts. And once again, it comes to the whole point. Like, I understood where Patrick Bryce was going with this character. But it just seemed like Adam Scott was putting himself before his marriage or his family or whatever. And it's like, it was the whole D-Train situation where it's like, Jack Black was doing a lot of things for himself. And it's like, I know you're trying to mean well, but it comes across as, narcissistic. Just dial it back a little bit. Jason Schwartzman's great. I always like him in everything he does. I mean, Adam Scott's great in this, and so is Taylor Schilling. But my one problem with the acting is that their overall developments and arcs, it's just not really, there's really nothing there. It's like, in even the development that is there, with the climax that happens at the end, it's kind of interrupted, and it's like, well, what's going to happen after this? And it's not really good development, and it's not really good arcs with these characters. They're kind of paper thin when it comes to that. So I don't want to dog on that, because it's an interesting story. It's an interesting premise, and it's really kind of raw and gritty in terms of the sexuality. I'm glad the director went there and stuff, but there was just, I would say, hardly any to no development or arcs with these characters. they were not explored well enough, and I wish they kind of were, because I'll get to the editing in just a second. The cinematography, it's okay. What I really like about it is the night scenes, because I really love like the kind of glow off the street lights and the lights in general in this movie, because it's almost like these glows are like of innocence, and they're glowing on top of these people that are doing very raunchy and dirty things. But yeah, as far as cinematography goes, it's fine. It is handy cam. And so there are a couple scenes where I kind of noticed it shaking a little too much, but overall I actually like the shaky cam feel to this one, because it's almost like you're floating on this cloud with them. So for the most part, it's fine. Okay, the editing. Okay, this movie's like 80 minutes long. It's an hour and 20 minutes. And you could have done a lot more, but at the same time, you really couldn't. Listen, Patrick Bryce, if you're watching this, I like to think of myself as a screenwriter. I've written several of them. Most of them are, crap. But I just don't know how you could add on top of this story to develop the characters more. And I think the 80 minutes is good for this type of story because it's short, sweet, and to the point. But at the same time, I kind of wish you were to draw out 10, 15, 20 minutes, even 20 minutes more, and kind of explore it a little bit more of the psyche aspect of this, or just explore more of what you were trying to go for and develop these characters more, have them actually go through with what they were trying to accomplish, maybe at the end or something, continue off that. I don't know. Just, I wish there was a tad more to this, and that's what I'll say is the downfall of the editing. So overall, I know it sounds like I'm really dogging on this movie, but in hindsight, I really enjoyed it. Like, I really did. I'm going to recommend it to people. I'm just going to let you know that, the story leading up to it is great. The tension's there. I love kind of the weird, eerie aspect of it, but the climax is just, it doesn't satisfy me, and then it just kind of pedals off and then just ends. That's one of my main problems. The characters are underdeveloped, and it's really tough, because I want to recommend it to people just to experience it, because it's kind of an interesting movie that you don't really see often. It's something kind of different, among all the Jurassic Worlds and the Avengers out there. So I think I'll rate it fresh. I'll go 6 out of 10, but just barely. Because if I would have given it a 5, it would have been rotten. But I'm going to give it that fresh rating just by a hair. But just go at your own caution that you might be disappointed and underwhelmed at the end. That's all I got to say. So no one asked me any questions, so I'm going to wrap this up. So have you guys seen The Overnight, or have you even heard of it? Adam Scott, Taylor Schilling from Orange is the New Black. If you have, comment in the place above my face and let me know. And as always, thanks for watching Real Reviews with me, Chase Lee, live. And tune in next time for whatever I review next live. So that's it. I'm going to play my outro music. See you guys later.